Hey everyone, and welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Make sure to leave a like on this video down below and subscribe. My name is Alvin. I lean right on most issues, and I'll be representing the Republican side.
My name is Luke. I lean left on most issues, and I'll be representing the Democratic side. Guys, it's been forever. Lots changed in the last few weeks. I'm in college now, so that's partly why there's been a delay. But anyway, in this video, we are going to be rating how the candidates performed in the first Republican presidential debate.
Yeah, so I would say that the past few weeks since our last video were kind of boring up until this point. We had the Trump fourth indictment, which was kind of the one story that
Yeah.
was in the news in terms of electoral politics. But now, since the debate, and I guess also the Trump on Tucker Carlson interview that happened, we're going to rate candidate debate performance and then kind of touch on the people who didn't go. So I guess we'll do it in order of who stood in the middle of the stage out into the flanks, the irrelevant
Oh, that's a good way to do it.
sides. Yeah. So I guess we can start with the Ron DeSantis.
Okay. I guess I'll go first here. I thought DeSantis uh underperformed expectations. I thought he had a quite mid performance. Honestly. Yeah, I don't know. Like it didn't feel like he really got a chance to speak as much as some of the other candidates like Vivek and Pence, for example. And yeah, like for the second place, yeah, it didn't really like yeah, you want like he was the top in the place of Trump there, right? So everyone's expecting him to do really well. And the fact that he underperformed expectations leads me to believe he's going to lose votes from this in the primary. What did you think?
Yeah, so I thought DeSantis did fine in terms of not making any major mistakes.
Yeah.
He did okay. But this was his one chance to kind of make all the other candidates go away and to consolidate everyone behind him to be Trump versus him. Because the only way any of these candidates on stage last night can win the nomination is if everyone else drops out. And then we can have a serious conversation of Trump versus X or Trump versus Y. And that's the only way you can really, get ahead of Trump right now, who's in a commanding lead. For DeSantis, he had to do a lot better than what he did last night. I would say a lot of it is due to chance. A lot of the other candidates decided to attack Vivek instead of him, which is
Hmm.
going to give him less speaking time, obviously, give him less sound bites and commercial ads to get from the whole night. And I think he just did C tier. He didn't do
Yeah.
horribly, but it's just not going to be good enough
Yeah, I,
at all.
I I agree with that characterization. And also, yeah, like you mentioned, DeSantis is in that middle position where he's not quite up on Trump's level, but he's not as low as the other candidates. And so what he should have done also is like I'm surprised at how little he went after Trump. Like, I mean, I feel like at this point, like some candidates have to do something to take those Trump voters away if they want a chance to win too. It's like that's another factor to think of. But yeah, I agree.
Well, one person that is not trying to take some of those Trump voters in terms of getting them to hate Trump is Vivek
Yeah,
Ramaswamy. Now,
definitely.
Vivek is very interesting because he is doing the complete opposite of some of these other candidates in terms of the strategy going into this. And his strategy is kind of let me get the Trump lane of voters by making them think that I am the new brand of Trumpism. I am the new generation. I'm the millennial on this stage, the youngest person to ever run for the Republican nomination. And he's the person on the stage that's kind of selling himself as Trump 2.0, Trump without all the baggage, Trump without any of the January 6th
Yeah,
shenanigans,
I agree.
Trump without all the problems of Trump, the basically a more articulate Trump that has the same amount of charisma to the Republican base, I would say, but he has a much bigger vocabulary and has that kind of appeal to both the college educated voters and the working class voters. And I would say he might have won himself Trump's vice presidential pick from that debate.
Okay.
That was one of probably the best winner, the biggest winner out of last night.
You think Vivek was I mean,
I think so.
I want to say no. I think he lost every college educated voter that listened to that debate. I think he did, but I mean, this is a Republican primary. He's not panning for he's not going to be pandering toward New England college educated moderate Republicans. He's going to be pandering toward, the more Trumpy, rural, middle of the country Republicans. And I think he did a great job of that. He played into conspiracy theories. He called climate change a hoax. He got he did a variety of things that Trump would do. Like he painted himself as an outsider, talked about abandoning Ukraine, a bunch of these like crazy policies. I was kind of all that, like the foreign policy stuff too, especially. Like I can't really see a college educated person listening. Like this guy's getting his ass kicked on stage by UN ambassador Nikki Haley because these people know foreign policy. This guy knows nothing. He's talking about, leaving Ukraine, defunding Israel, like all these things Republicans normally wouldn't go. I don't know. I didn't like his performance, and it pissed me off as a Democrat and as a foreign policy buff. But I will say, I will give you this. I do think he does gain votes out of this. I think he's gonna take some from Trump and he's gonna take some from DeSantis. Was he the best performer? Actually, he could be. I don't know.
I
But
actually
yeah,
think that none of the jabs people tried to land on him landed. I don't think Nikki Haley destroyed Vivek Ramaswamy at all. I think most of the blows that people tried to land on him kind of disappeared. The Chat GPT line was really good, but he could have chose a better moment. I think maybe towards the end of the debate could have been really solid, but nothing landed 100%. I think Vivek did at least an A-tier performance, in my opinion. I was scrolling Republican forums and people were spamming Vivek 2024 at a rate that I've never seen before. And I
yeah.
think we should also look at the betting markets.
Yeah, I know. He definitely took I think he's definitely going to take a slice out of DeSantis.
Yeah,
And Trump too.
and
And
Trump as
yeah,
well.
I will say, yeah, you are probably right. He did probably gain from this, but I don't know. But I don't know. He also is going to lose people too. Like I think any as I said before, college educated Republicans, like the net of debate watchers I mentioned before when we were talking before about the 538 poll, like his net favorability among them went down not 9 points. His favorability had a large increase, but his unfavorability also had a greater increase. So he overall lost. Like he has more people thinking negative of him now. Yeah, I don't know, but again that doesn't favorability doesn't necessarily matter. It's him getting those Trump supporters behind him, and I think he did that very well. And
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I mean,
definitely don't think it was a perfect night for him. We do have a lot of Democrats who watched the debate, a lot of independents who watched the debate, who are now disliking him a lot more. We saw him phrase his climate agenda quite horribly for any youth voter.
yeah,
And
he he
he
said
did
like
push a
climate
few.
policies kill more than climate
Right.
change, which is
I saw a
psychotic.
lot of interesting takes that would probably propel him in a Republican primary, but hurts him very much in general. And so I think he did very well for a Republican primary, but
Yeah.
if he does become Trump's vice presidential pick or somehow win the nomination, Democrats are going to be pulling from this debate tons of lines for ads. And I think A
Hmm.
tier is fair.
Actually, I mean, yeah, I mean, as much as I may have let some of my bias slip through there. He because God, now I freaking I'm fully against Vivek now. I've lost all respect for him. But yeah, I think definitely he's gonna see a big polling bump from this.
Yeah,
Like
he's probably going to hit
A or
20%.
S, yeah. Like
So
he's gonna get a bump. He might even be second after
he is
this.
definitely going to be
Yeah.
second after this. All right. I
Anyway,
guess Mike Pence. You want to start
Michael
on Mike
Pence.
Pence?
I mean, Mike Pence, he did he did pretty good. I mean, he did better than I thought he'd do. I'm not even gonna lie. Like he got a lot of speaking time in. I think did he get the most speaking time? I think he might have.
Yes, he
Yeah, he
did.
did. Yeah, so he got his word in on a lot of different topics. And yeah, like he really just like played on his experience. And he used that to go after Vivek in the second part of the debate a lot. Um, and I thought he did a solid job. Like, and it seemed like even with him preventing the overturning of the election, it seemed like the crowd, wasn't overly Trumpy, so they didn't really like make him look bad by booing him into the abyss like some other candidates. So I think he did okay. I think maybe
Yeah,
B.
yeah, I think the expectations were low for Mike Pence. I mean, just look at his betting odds. He's doing worse than someone who's not even in the race, Glenn
You're
Youngkin,
right.
which is really sad. But
Not a lot of Pence
yeah,
fans out
he
there.
did better than his extremely low expectations. Now, no one really thought he would have anything going into this debate. He was trying to land blows on Vivek, which didn't really do much. But he did have his moments because he aggressively tried to get more speaking time. He was a little annoying in some parts where he tried to talk over the moderators a
Oh
lot,
yeah,
which
that's true.
which kind of hurt my perception of him in terms of this calm and collected, right, vice president. Um,
I don't think that'll hurt him too much overall,
yeah,
though,
I
right?
don't
Yeah.
think I well, the thing is he can't really go up. He has a very low ceiling, right? He can't really break this low ceiling. It's impossible for him to go over 10% in any world. So I think he B is fair. He definitely
Yeah.
did. I
Okay.
think he did better than Ron because Ron kind of just lost while Pence had nothing
Yeah.
to lose.
You'd rather
Right?
overperform expectations than underperform. Yeah.
Right. All
Hmm.
right. I guess Nikki Haley's next. I thought the takeaway from this debate was that I think a lot of moderates are going to move to Nikki Haley. I think she's
Yeah.
actually going to gain in after this debate. She's going to take votes from Christie, probably from Pence, maybe even from Tim Scott.
I think
And
definitely from Tim Scott in South Carolina. I think we're
yeah,
gonna see a decent shift toward
I,
her.
I think yeah, I think Nikki Haley did what she had to do going into yesterday night. She did very well in terms of talking about her foreign policy experience and appealing to that moderate lane. I don't think it's going to be good for her in terms of Republican nomination. She kind of pivoted towards the general election already. You could see her kind of crafting her responses to win over independents, for example. You could see that phraseology coming in from top to bottom. She was kind of being like, oh, let's build a consensus around abortion. Let's keep working with our allies in Ukraine, et cetera, et cetera. We could see that. And I think, in my opinion, she did much better than I had expectations for. I thought she would be irrelevant going into yesterday night, and she did very well. I'm not sure if she did as well as Vivek in terms of a Republican primary, but high B, low A is where I would give her.
Yeah, I think I'd put her A because like yeah, looking at like the 538 stats, like she saw the biggest increases of any candidate in her support and her net favorability. Her net favorability increased by 13.4 points.
Wow.
Pretty solid, greatest of any candidate. Uh I mean, yeah, you could scroll down further. I mean, like that's general debate performance. Uh no, you can keep going. There's more stats, Alvin. There's more stats. Okay, that's part of it. Like, who would consider voting for her? Look at that increase. Yeah, right there. That's like plus 16 points. As I'm saying, like she saw that massive increase, and I think overall, we're going to again see a bump in her poll numbers among the Trumpiest batch of people. Um, maybe not so much, but among those that solid group of people who are not Vivek, not DeSantis, not Trump, she's probably going to take a lot of their votes. And yeah, I think she'll see a bump, especially after this. I would say A.
Okay, I think she definitely did worse than Vivek because in terms of Republican primary, she didn't have that wow factor, but she's there. She's definitely up there. She's gonna clog up that moderate lane, in my opinion, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I think her quip against Vivek and just taking advantage of his wacky foreign policy was like really made her stand out toward the end.
Yeah, her
Like,
line, her Margaret Thatcher line was also pretty big at the
oh yeah,
beginning. That one kind of got overlooked I don't know why Hillary Clinton didn't use that line because it was really good, but oh
Yeah.
well.
Mhm.
Tim Scott, you want to talk about Tim Scott?
Yeah, Tim Scott was there. And
He
yeah,
was there.
yeah, I mean, like, he did okay. Um, he didn't really, like, again, like, kind of like Ron DeSantis, he didn't really stand out. Like, and when you're polling that low, you want to stand out. So yeah, I think he was just kind of overshadowed by Haley, who I think, yeah, like, when I look at Haley and Scott, I think about the same of them. But yeah, I think Haley just outdid him, and voters who would have voted for Scott are probably going to move to like Haley. That's what I'm thinking.
Yep, I think Scott tried to be the kind of nice guy. I think a lot of people are calling him
Yeah, you're
that.
right.
He tried to be the Mr. Nice Guy, I'm so calm and collected. I'm happy to be here and I want to give my shot to be
He didn't
president.
attack anyone. I
And
don't think he
yeah,
attacked
he
anyone. Yeah.
didn't attack anyone. I don't think he got attacked by anyone
Yeah.
as well, which is a problem because in debates you kind of want to get attacked. You don't want to. You want more speaking time, right? And you can kind
Yeah.
of see he has the third lowest speaking time. And the format of all these debates is when you get name called, you're allowed or referred to directly, you're allowed to rebut
That's
with 30
true.
seconds. And in that rebuttal, you can then call the other person out. And then you guys have this kind of back and forth before the moderators stop you, which they did very rarely. So the moderators often would ask one question to start off every section, every topic, and then they would kind of just let the candidates do whatever. And Scott, every time he got a question, he would just answer it. And then no one would really fight him because he didn't fight anyone. And the moderators would just pose the next question. Meanwhile, let's say DeSantis answered a question. Ramaswamy would come in and be like, well, DeSantis,
Hmm.
you just didn't answer the question. And you know what? My hands are in my pockets or whatever. And it was just this whole moment. For example, when Pence got a question, he would attack Vivek. When Christie got a question, he would attack someone else. And it was this whole, this whole circus even. And you kind of want to be in that theatrical circus. And Scott didn't get that moment
He
at
didn't make the
all.
cut. Yeah.
And
He's too passive.
I think he kind of did the same as DeSantis. He did okay, but he's gonna leak voters by just doing okay. In a first
Yeah.
debate, you cannot do that, and he gets a C minus for me.
Hmm.
All
Chris
right,
Christie next.
Chris
Um,
Christie.
I mean, my like yeah, again, like, we all, like, coming to the debate stage. We think I believe Chris Christie is going to be the weapon against Trump. Maybe he could chip away at Trump enough to give other candidates an opportunity, but Trump wasn't there, and I think that's what his problem was. Um, I mean, you kind of
Yeah,
saw him, like, again, on the Ukraine thing, go after Vivek, and, like, describing the, like, atrocities happening in Ukraine, and put making a, like, showing how Putin's like this villain. And I thought that was, like, solid. But then again, alternatively, like, when he talks against Trump, which he did like maybe once or twice the whole debate, he gets booed by the entire crowd and looks extremely bad. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
I
I don't
mean,
know.
I think his whole rant about we cannot normalize this conduct, that was probably the strongest moment in the
Yeah,
debate, and maybe that contributed to Trump's minor fall during the debate. It was kind of weird though with Christie because Chris Christie, obviously, we were talking about how he was supposed to be the spoiler candidate, right? He was supposed to be the guy that didn't have a shot at all. No one really thinks Chris Christie has a shot,
yeah,
but he can influence the rest of the field with his comments at the debate. And if that was his goal, I would give him a B because he did kind of land a few shots here and there. They were a little weak at times. I think he could have waited again, like I said, for better moments, like for the Chat GPT line or other comments he tried to make.
uh,
You
that
know,
would have been
it
a good line later in the
that would
debate.
have been a much better line later. Oh, I'm so tired of this guy. That sounds like ChatGPT. Later down the road, I think could have turned into a media firestorm. That could have went
Yeah,
viral. Vivek could have got embarrassed by the young people who he's trying to appeal to right now. But it was kind of this half thing. He didn't really do that well. I think B is fair. He did better than Tim Scott and DeSantis, in my opinion. But
Um, but the booing makes me feel like he would be a C because I mean I don't really
Okay,
think he's gonna gain voters
that's true.
from it,
He
but I don't think
didn't.
he's gonna lose any either. Because if you're voting Christie, you're kind of like you're kind of pining for the older Republican Party, or you're just like anti-Trump. So I mean, yeah, I don't really think he's gonna lose any voters.
Well, that's
Or
the same thing as Mike Pence. I don't think Mike Pence is going to lose any voters, and we're kind of separating this as gain voters won't change that much, and then we'll lose voters, right? So that's why I thought he was kind of a B minus. It's kind of like
Pence didn't
Pence.
get like
Pence can't
booed
win.
for
Pence can't
like a
win.
minute.
That's true.
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
how Pence didn't get booed this debate. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I
Pence
mean Pence had I think Pence definitely did stronger than Chris. I'd put Christie.
C
Yeah,
plus, C
yeah,
plus.
yeah,
All right,
probably around
that's
there.
fair.
Mhm.
C for Christie. Okay.
Oh, Asa. I want to just say
Ace,
before this that
Ace.
um I found two Asa supporters at my college, and I am shocked. I am like
What?
one of them's from Arkansas, one of them's from Idaho. Crazy, man.
I
It's
mean,
a
I get
crazy
the
world out
Arkansas
there.
guy, but
Yeah,
Idaho?
it's weird, but we found some Asa people, and God bless them. They're awesome. But
uh,
yeah, Asa did not have his night. I'm sorry. That was bad.
uh,
He didn't get his word
uh,
out there.
yeah, no, I think Ace and Doug are just Fs. I don't,
Actually, I would argue Doug did okay. He did okay.
what,
Like
he's gonna
I
move
I think
from 1 to 2%? Like,
I think he
what?
got his I think of the two someone described this to me as the mid off between Doug and freaking Asa. The two governors slash former governors. Like yeah, I mean, you see Burgum has a decent increase in support. Like if you go back to the 538 thing, like of people willing to
That's
support him.
true. That's true.
Yeah, so I mean, I think he did okay. Unlike, especially like speaking on against Biden's policies, like I don't know. I think it might move the needle a little bit toward him. But yeah, Asa didn't really like. Yeah, it
Okay,
didn't
I mean,
seem like
I
he
mean,
got
I
to
would
speak as
definitely
much.
put Doug above Asa. Okay, Doug definitely did better than Asa, but I can't even say Doug did as well as Tim Scott. I mean, he just didn't. He barely got any speaking time. He kind of just gave this, farm boy story a few times and just said, I'm
He pulled
cool.
out the Constitution once.
That's true. But it was weak. It was weak in my opinion. I don't think.
It's not an F. I'd put him on tier with the same tier as Scott, honestly. Burgum, I think I would.
Okay, I mean he did. I don't think he didn't lose anyone, maybe, but it's just
I think he's
it's
gonna get
just
his name out there, especially like with the leg thing.
maybe
He broke his leg or something before the debate and still showed up. Like I
that's
think no,
true.
never mind.
That
Tore
was
his
pretty.
Achilles tendon. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah. That was kind of cool. I guess I don't know. Yeah, it was whatever.
this
Those
debate
two.
was interesting.
I
Oh,
guess what?
something else I forgot to mention about Christie is I just want to say this because he of how screwed over he got. Because I don't know if they gave him the UFO question. Do you
Oh
remember that?
yeah, the
Do you remember
UFO
that? And him and
question.
only him. That was so funny. Anyway,
I don't know what the moderators were thinking about that question. I think the moderators, if we had to give the moderators, they were solid B plus. I think they were solid throughout the debate. They let the
oh, yeah, they were
candidates
okay.
talk.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
got ran over a few times, but they generally let the conversation go as it should have. However, they kind of ruined their grade from an A minus to B plus without UFO question. That was beneath any debate. I mean, come on. Unless the headlines the day before were, Martians are invading the USA, we can't have
Yeah.
UFO questions like that. That's just not
That was
how.
crazy.
It's not. I mean,
I
I'm
was like,
sure
oh
your
my
your watch
God.
party probably broke out in
Everyone was laughing. It was
right,
crazy. Anyway,
oh my gosh.
oh, and I guess to before we close out this video, um, how do you think the debate affects Trump?
Yeah, so I guess these three candidates, they're basically done. They are
Yeah.
done. They've been done. Trump, if we had to rate Trump on what happens after this debate, I think he's just in an S tier because Trump last night, he didn't get attacked by anyone except really Christie. I guess Mike Pence kind of alluded to the fact,
Don't
and
forget Asa.
and Asa did say he would not support Trump if he was convicted, and we get that. But Trump escaped last night pretty unscathed. His fanboys kind of tuned into that Tucker interview, even though most people didn't. And he's fine. He's solidly in first. No
Yeah.
one's gonna attack him. His nearest rival, Ron DeSantis, is going to fall after.
Yeah.
He's not
Yeah.
going to go back to where he was neck and neck with DeSantis and Trump.
Hmm.
That's not going to happen. If anything, the breakout candidate is going to be Vivek, who did the best. And
Hmm.
Vivek is a Trump supporter practically. And if anything, Vivek is going to back him. Trump can probably say, hey, Vivek, I'm going to give you Secretary of State if I win, just drop out. And he probably would drop out. And so I think this kind of back and forth with Trump and the rest of the candidates, him not attending was the right decision. If he was there last night, Christie could have landed something huge on him. Maybe
Hmm.
Mike Pence looks him in the eye and is like, "I did the right thing." And then there's this whole moment because the crowd was pretty Mike Pence friendly, right? So Trump did the right thing for his debate, and he's
Yeah.
solid.
And what I'll say also for Trump is you were talking about him turning himself in the day of the debate to steal away. But I think he made an even smarter decision turning himself in today, the day after the debate, because now he's just going to suck all those headlines those people could have gotten from the debate back to him. And he might even get a polling bump from it. Like that's a genius play. Like waiting till like after, because I think if he did it during, the debate still would have been the main focus because it's him turning himself in. It already happened 3 times. Um. So, but now like all the news is going to cover today. I think he's turning himself in at
Yeah.
like 7-ish. Like it's just from then on, it's just gonna be that Trump, Trump, Trump all over again, and then boom, it might even push him up in the polls. So yeah, I think Trump is gonna be
Yep.
benefiting from
He
this.
did also wait until today to kind of fire his old lawyer and put in a new one, which is interesting. But yeah, I think this was smart. I didn't even think of it. I didn't think of this genius move of turning yourself in the day after. Because yeah, I guess if you turn yourself in the day before, people are just gonna watch, the
Hmm.
debate and
Yeah.
they're just gonna talk about him. But today, there's nothing else to watch, and Trump's gonna be on their mind. I think Trump's, little mugshot.
Oh yeah, because
He's
I
gonna
heard they gave Rudy Giuliani a mugshot. They're
right.
gonna give him a
Trump's
mugshot
probably getting a
probably.
mugshot. He's gonna release it. He's gonna get another bump from it. Probably every time Trump gets this kind of legal, this legal trouble, he always gains in the primary from it somehow. Uh, and yeah, if he turned himself in before the debate, obviously everyone could just, kind of troll him about it. Maybe Christie, right? But after, very smart move. I think Trump's handling his campaign great. Just as we said back in this video, who has the best campaigns? It's still, I think this chart at the top at least is still very accurate, and it's still very accurate at the bottom as well with DeSantis. Uh yeah. So there's that.
Hmm.
Um I
Yeah.
think I think that's about it though.
Yeah.
Maybe one last look at the betting odds. Trump went up, just like we said. Vivek went up. DeSantis went down, and Haley rose just a cent, just like we were discussing. In terms of the Iowa caucuses, Vivek definitely went up there as well, with the other candidates going down. And
Hmm.
if we look at second place here, I think this is also a very important market, because
Oh yeah,
obviously
Vivek
second
shot
place.
up.
If you look at this, no one else rose. I guess Pence did, but we don't really care. Vivek absolutely rose. 10 cents is a lot on this kind of market. Especially if you look here, there's already 70,000 shares traded, and he just rose up 10 cents.
Hmm.
That's a lot. And then, yeah, I mean, maybe this one as well. Interesting market here. Who will win the presidency? I think it's an achievement to go from a nobody to over 10% on that market as well.
Damn.
So that's
Yeah,
good for
Vivek
him.
is up there now. Hmm.
Vivek is in. I mean, I think it's kind of, this market is kind of just, does Trump get convicted and unable, is locked up in jail? Then Vivek maybe wins, But yeah, so this is it. This is the tier list of how well people did. Trump didn't go, but in terms of the aftermath, he's chilling. He's in the S tier. These three are done for. Might as well be thrown in the Z tier for not even
Yeah.
qualifying. So this is it. Trump in the S tier for the aftermath. Haley and Vivek in A tier. B tier for Mike Pence. C for the kind of losers of the night, and F for the Mr. Hutchinson. I'm
Poor
sorry.
Asa.
For Asa. Yeah. So there we go. That's our Republican debate review. Thanks for watching, everyone. Leave a like, comment, the YouTube algorithm, subscribe if you made it to the end. You love this content, right? So we're going to give you more as the race ramps up.
Yes. Please share with your friends, and yeah, see ya.
Bye.